What is going on YouTube? Steven, the Salon Guy here, and today I'm going to be doing a haircut you've all been waiting for. It's of this. This is the haircut you've all been waiting for, Jeremy Renner, aka Hawkeye. So I've been getting a lot of requests. I'm going to do the haircut on a mannequin. Let's get started. I'm just gonna break down some of the core essential steps to making sure this haircut comes out properly. Now, if you're going to get this haircut at a salon or barbershop, I would suggest just showing them pictures of Hawkeye so that they can look at it and try to duplicate it. Because if you're gonna sit there and try to explain this to them, well, I wish you luck. But the key thing really is finding the sectioning and the partings right in through here, because it starts right about here, curves down around, and goes into a point in the back. So the first thing is we have to do is make sure we have the parting. All right, now what I would suggest doing, since we have this right here, I say we just go for it and we cut the section, because it's right here, we're ready to go, it's nice and perfect and clipped off, and now we can start. Now, does your hair have to be this long in order to get this haircut? No, but it needs to be long enough on the top. This could be, you know, however long it is on the sides, but really the key is having the length on top, and you probably need about 2 to 3 inches the most in hair up here. So let's start with a number 2 guard, and I just want to get rid of all this hair, and then if we have to fade it down through here, then we'll do that afterwards. So the advantage to doing this while the hair is wet is that sometimes I've noticed for making clean partings and to have the hair easy to work with and manipulate, sometimes having it wet is a little bit easier because it's all bunched together, and that's really going to help. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing with a number 2 guard, and we're going to get rid of all this hair. All right, guys, so we're done with the back part now, and let's just have a look to see how we are looking into here. So let's comb this all straight back, and I'm happy with what we see so far. You always want to check for balance in through the top, because this is, you know, the mohawk or the mohawk eye is what we need to look for. Great, we're looking good in through here, and we are ready to kind of fade this out a little bit. So I want to go a little bit shorter in through here, and we'll kind of fade this down into a 1 up into this 2 here. I'm going to leave that, and then we'll work into the top. All right, so both sides are faded out now, just ever so slightly, and now we're going to start to work throughout the top. All right, guys, so I'm gonna show you a little bit of a trick to cutting haircuts like this, all right? Now, when you comb this section down right into here, right? When you want this hair to be a specific length, what you need to do is you can actually cut it to around that length, right down in through here. So if you want the hair to be about, 2 inches, you can bring this down and cut it to about 2 inches here, because this hair has to travel upwards this way. You don't want to ever cut this too short, because once you cut this too short, it's too late. So let's create, remember as I mentioned, we're going to leave this about 3 inches long or so. All right, so 2 to 3 inches long. So about here, 2.5, but this is about 3 inches right here. So we're going to cut this, and let's go a little bit longer towards the front right here. We always want to leave that a little bit longer. And let's extend this down in through the back. Now, the reason we're going to do it like this is because we want to follow the same outline of how we cut the buzzed part. Okay, let's look at that, all right? See, you're following the shape. Let's bring down the next section, because we want to use that as our guide. And the guide means basically the hair that's underneath it, so you can see it. So again, we're gonna follow the same pattern. Now, I'm not putting the scissors on the skin, but what I am doing is going, relatively close, right along the hair, because you just wanna make sure you're not cutting deep into the scalp or anything like that. So again, we're gonna comb this forward, and then we're gonna cut. Let's see if we can do one more piece on this side. And then we're gonna repeat the same thing on the other side. And I guarantee you, you try this and it's gonna be a lifesaver. With any haircuts that you do like this, where you need to kind of be a little more efficient, and look at that, already we're good. Let's do the same thing on the other side. We'll breeze through this and then we'll come right back to move to the next step. All right, great. So now what I'm doing is I'm gonna start combing everything down and just finding any overlapping pieces, and we're just gonna balance those out. All right, let's bring this side over here. Again, we're just combing the hair in all directions just to make sure that we are good to go. And we're looking pretty good here. And I'm gonna show you guys what this did in a second. Here's the haircut right here. And watch, we're gonna bring this all back, and this is falling in perfectly, just how I wanted it. And we still have to layer the top to match up the length and through here. But as of right now, I'm super happy with what I'm seeing. Again, there's no product in here, but I'm totally loving this. All right, so now let's work on the top. What we're going to do is we're going to create a section based off of the guide that we cut over there, which was the 2.5 inch length. So we already are one step ahead of the game. Let's work into the corner right in through here. There's that extra weight that needs to come off. So now what I'm really just doing is I'm cutting the hair to where it's about 2.5 to 3 inches, again, keeping everything around the same length throughout the entire back of the head. I haven't cut the top yet, but what I'm doing is I'm simply just creating that shape, because, you know, even though it's a wild haircut, it still has to have balance to it. And this is a very, very, you know, standard kind of procedure for cutting a haircut like this, or any haircut. You want to make sure it's balanced, you know, unless you're going for that type of shape. All right, so again, now we're combing this in and we're double checking to make sure everything is good. I'm holding the hair straight out now from the head to check to make sure it's even. This is a great way to cross-check your haircuts to make sure that there aren't any super crazy longer pieces. And usually if there are, that means it's time to cut them, because there shouldn't be any hair that's really, like, you know, 2 inches longer or so. You want to make sure that everything is well balanced, and that's why you do something like this. You cross-check the hair, all right? Cross-check it, and it looks like we are good to go. Now time for the top. We're going to take a section that we just cut from back here, and we're going to work our way towards the front and the top. So there's the guide, and I'm holding it straight up and I'm cutting. What this is doing, it's connecting the top of the back of the head to the top going towards the front. And I like to do it this way just because it's a more seamless connection right in through here. And then I just like to always go back and make sure that there's no weight line or any sort of part that's not blended in, and we are looking good. All right, so now we're going to bring the hair straight up from the head, because now we are clear to move forward and cut horizontally this way. And now we're just working towards the face, and all the hair that's longer, you're gonna see that's what needs to come off. Let's comb the front very, very front straight up. And now is where we'll really start to kind of mold and shape it, okay? This is where we really start to mold and shape it. But again, you wanna make sure that it's not too long, because if the hair is too long, it's not going to move properly. And that's really, really, really essential. So here I'm cutting the corners and just making sure that there's not any hair that's a lot longer, because now what's happening, as you can see, even though I cut more hair off, it's actually connecting much better and it's laying much better. Because when the hair is actually all grouping together, it's because it's properly cut. And that's really, really key and essential to hair cutting, is that if the hair is not balanced properly, it's not gonna lay right. And just imagine that's how it grows out. So when you have a bad haircut, it grows out unevenly. All right, so I'm just going to, again, make sure this is all blended and connected. and then we'll be ready to style it in a second. All right, guys, here's the finished result. And let's just spin the mannequin head around so we can see what we got going on here. All right, so again, I started with a number 2 just to get rid of all that hair. Then I went back in with a number 1 and just faded it ever so slightly. Came down on an angle, and I got rid of one side first, and then I went back in and did the other side, because I just felt like since it's right there, it's ready to go, why not do it and take advantage of the situation? And then what I did is I cut the hair on an angle to about, I'd say 2.5 to 3 inches right into here. Again, you don't want to go too short up here. You need that length for it to go back. Create an angle, always leave the front a little bit longer. And then I brought everything down to that point. Did the same thing on the other side. We cut it into a point in through the back here, as you can see. And then what we did was we then went back and then cut the top by layering the back in through here so that it can all kind of brush back this way. Again, trying to match that 2.5 to 3 inch length in through here, no longer than that. Did the same thing all the way through at the top, connected the back here into the top, worked it towards the front. The front is slightly longer. Then I blow dried it, really just using a brush and the blow dryer to kind of get that lift. Everybody want to know how to get that. First, you need the right haircut, and 2, you gotta just blow dry this into the shape. Then I finished the style with pregame, and here we have the finished result. All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Please help me get this out so that maybe, who knows, Jeremy himself can see it, or one of the cast members. That'll be really, really awesome if this got picked up somehow. So I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time for more videos with the Salon Guy.